Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, man, we must continue to set the record straight, guys. Stop the lies. Stop the narratives, y'all. We must continue to stop them from rewriting the history. And in this video, I want to continue for like, this is going to be like almost like a part two, but not really a part two. But I want to continue with that interview that I was talking about the other day that Michael Jordan had with Roy Firestone back in 1980 after the 1988 season, right? So this is a very young Michael Jordan, right, in his third season in the league, or coming off his, fourth season, I guess you could call it, in the league. He got the injury season, but his fourth season, like I said, winning the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year. I want to talk about something he talked about in this interview as it relates to the fans and the interaction with the fans, talking to the fans. He talked about it in this interview briefly. And then we'll talk about this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel, man. Much respect to all you guys out there. I am truly, truly humble, guys. Thank you very much, man, for real. It means a lot, guys. Shout out to everybody in the membership. Like I said, all you guys subscribing, commenting, liking my video, sharing, all that stuff, sharing your stories with me. It means a lot, for real. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I want to continue talking about this interview because it was a very interesting interview. And the reason why it was interesting to me is this was a young Michael Jordan. This was not a seasoned Michael Jordan, right? In the second three-peat after he came back from the first retirement, or even after he's won any championships. This is Michael Jordan still going through the grind after the 1988 season, right? He has not won anything as far as championships goes, and he's still young and new to the league. So it's really interesting to me to hear him talk about some of these aspects. And one of the things he was talking about in the interview that he was asked about was his interaction with the fans. And in the interview, Roy Firestone asked him specifically about one incident. If you guys have probably heard the same story of the Utah Jazz, right? When he's playing against the Utah Jazz and he dunked on John Stockton and one of the fans was running down the sideline yelling at Michael Jordan. And I guess he said something to the effect of, hey, why don't you pick on someone your own size, so to speak, because he dunked on John Stockton, who was a couple of inches shorter than Michael Jordan. So as the story goes, Michael Jordan proceeds to the next time down the court, aim and dunk on Mel Tarpon. And I believe Mel Tarpon was like 6'10" or 6'11", about 250, 260 pounds. He was a big guy, right? He was a huge player. And Michael Jordan dunked on him and then proceeded to look at the fan and say, was he big enough, right? And Roy Firestone asked Michael Jordan about that interaction in the interview and about his interaction with the fans and talking to the fans and what his thoughts were on that. And Michael Jordan said that he thought that the fans were part of the game, right? They paid, to see the game. They want to be entertained, right? And he felt that, if they're there watching the game, why not talk to them? Let them know that they're part of the game, that, I'm not isolating myself from the fans. And I found that very interesting because, like I said, this was early in Michael Jordan's stardom where he was just becoming a really huge star. By the 1988 season, he really couldn't go anywhere without people knowing who he was, the autographs, all of these things, right? But he still wasn't Michael Jordan of the 90s yet, right? Where he really went to, all meteoric rise and became, like I said, the most recognizable athlete in the history of the world. So at this time, it's really interesting to hear Michael Jordan's thoughts on the interactions with the crowd, because in that early part of Michael Jordan's career, he was not known yet as the trash talker per se, right? Of some of the other guys of legend that he became, right? One of the greatest trash talkers in NBA's history, up there with guys like Larry Bird and Gary Payton, the Kevin Garnetts, some of these great all-time great trash talkers. Michael Jordan was not at that level yet. So his interaction with the fans was more friendly and jokingly, rather than what it would become later on down the road, where it would be like a challenge, where someone would say something to Michael Jordan and he would take it personal. And it would be a personal challenge for him to destroy the other team, take it out on the other team, and then look at that fan and say, look what you made me do, and look what I just did. That's because you want to shut your mouth. So we think about his interaction with Spike Lee and all the things he would interact. Now, we know him and Spike Lee had a personal connection. They were actually true friends off the court. But this is what he would do. He would take it out on the New York Knicks. And a lot of other people who try to heckle Michael Jordan and try to get him off his game by talking trash and saying things to Michael Jordan, he always would take these things personal, right? He would never take it as a slight or get mad about it like these guys do now, right? Where they take it and they're sensitive about it. Michael Jordan was never sensitive that way, right? He took it and used it against the fans. So when you hear him early in his career talking about talking with the fans because they're part of the game and they want to be entertained and he doesn't have a problem talking to the fans, he doesn't want to isolate himself from the fans. He wants them to know that, hey, I know you guys are here and you guys are right there in the action. That's the cool thing about the NBA. If you think about it, the fans are literally right there on the court with the players, right? The players are falling onto the fans sometimes, right? The fans are right there. They're getting hit with the ball in their head and the face. They're getting their drinks knocked over, right? You can hear everything that the players are saying if you're right there. I've never sat that close to a game before, but I can only imagine what that's like. You don't have that in football, right? You don't have that in baseball really like that. Now, baseball, somewhat to a degree, you do a little bit, but the players are not necessarily going to fall on top of you like they would unless they're diving into the stands to catch a fly ball or something of that nature. Whereas basketball, the sweat could be flying on you. You could be literally right next to the huddle and listen to everything that's said if you're sitting right there on the court, called courtside. So we think about Michael Jordan talking about the interaction with the fans. It's really, like I said, man, it really speaks to where we've gone now, where we've got in the NBA with these players today. Right? Because a lot of these players who are getting these fans thrown out of the arenas or players who are going back and forth with fans, these are veterans. These are guys who have been in the NBA for years. And you would think that they would be immune to this kinds of stuff or they wouldn't let these kinds of things bother them. But what have I told you guys? There's been a change in the mindset of the NBA players of today, right? Of the quote unquote grown men of today who are very sensitive to words. Words really hurt these guys' feelings when you say things to them. They take it very sensitively because they feel that, how dare you say this to me? I'm a professional basketball player. You have no right to talk to me like this. Meanwhile, these people are paying money to watch you play. You're getting paid millions of dollars to basically expose yourself to these kinds of things. You're a public figure in the eye of the public. You see, these guys want to go out there and do their thing and never have any criticism, never have people yell things at them. And once again, I've always told you guys on this channel, I do not condone people yelling racial things or making threats or any of these kinds of things. I do not. If fans want to trash talk guys, I have no problem with that. I do not condone these other things though. However, people say crazy things, right? And if they do, who cares? Once again, if they're not trying to physically do something to you or harm you, throwing something at you, whatever the case may be, I could care less about someone saying some words to me. Once again, why don't these guys take it and use it against the fans? Talk trash right back to fans. Like, all right, when I check back into this game, watch what I'm about to do to this team. Or don't say anything and just go out there and do your thing on the court. Show and prove. These guys want to get all upset. They want to go back and forth with the fans. You guys look stupid. These guys look like a bunch of what? Sensitive babies trying to play the victim. And then they'll try to spin it and say like, oh man, they said some crazy stuff about me and my family. Or they said this. They try to make it seem like they're going to what? Condone it. Like, or not condone it. They're trying to justify their reaction, right? By trying to get everybody on their side. By telling you they said some crazy stuff to you. It's laughable, man. You guys are supposed to be true professionals. Then be a professional. You guys know the deal. So once again, guys, I found this interview to be very interesting when Michael Jordan talks about interacting with the fans, talking back to the fans. Like I said, playing around with these guys. And like I said, as he went throughout his career, trash talking them back and taking these things personally, not taking it to the point where he's getting people removed from the stands. You saw that. I posted that photo some months back or a month or so ago with the fans right behind Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls bench, with the sign that said, "Be like Mike, bet on it." You guys have probably seen that photo. Be like Mike, bet on it. They didn't remove that fan from the stands. They didn't do anything to that person. Michael Jordan ignored it, right? He just rolled with these things, man. He was too busy being concerned about winning. He wasn't worried about what these things were going on. These guys are more worried about what people in the stands are saying than they are about what's going on in the actual court. They're more worried about the outfits that they're wearing to the games than they're actually worried about what's going on the court. They're more worried about the celebrities they're going to hang out with than they're worried about what's going on the court. They're always worried about other stuff. The outside noise. And these guys don't focus on the game. And this is part of the reason why the game is suffering, because these guys are mentally weak men and they're a bunch of sensitive babies, man. But then they want the respect from other grown men. I don't respect it. So shout out to Michael Jordan once again. If all the other guys back in them days, man, the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, they were hearing all kinds of crazy things. I always tell you guys, you're telling me that Bill Russell and some of the players from the 50s and the 60s didn't hear crazy things from the fans? Come on, man. They weren't even allowed to stay in certain hotels. Give me a break. And they still played. They weren't crybabies about it. They were true professionals. They showed for a love of the game. Much respect to all those guys out there. Shout out to Michael Jordan, young Michael Jordan, talking about the fans, not being upset, saying, yeah, the fans, they can't say anything they want to say. How dare they talk to me and say, nah, man. They always talk back to the fans, man. Like I said, they took it personal. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.